kids and get the kids down, and then I'll be around for. I got a number of people I need to talk to later on tonight, but whether after raid or whatever. But I know you guys have the J run and the A run and all that going on. So the first thing I want to say is that I'll wait for everyone to get on.
How do you turn off that notification where that lady tells you every time someone comes in?
I have
I
a
get a
guy
guide.
that tells me, yeah.
You can even have it just make it like a ping instead of telling you who it is.
How do you do that?
If you're on a Mac, go to configure in the top bar and just turn off text to speech.
Thank
I'm
you
not
to
on a
someone
Mac.
else on a Mac.
The first thing you need to do if you're on a Mac is go buy a new computer.
Agreed.
Why? Why? I don't want it to crash.
Oh my.
Implying that Macs don't crash.
You can't play WoW on a Mac. I have both, brand new. You
If
just
you like
can't.
spending $2,000 for the brand, then sure.
Yeah,
Shots
I mean,
fired.
it was good enough.
Well, I love my Mac for graphic design, but for gaming, yeah, PC.
If you want more specified, you can go into the settings in Mumble and make sure you have advanced options checked, and there's something called messages. Once you're in messages, you can click like notification sounds or text to speech. You can like uncheck all the text to speech, so it'll never like do text to speech on anything.
Oh yeah, got it.
Or
Thank you.
Or you can specify like you want text to speech on certain things and etc. etc.
Hi, Dan.
Or hey, let's get this thing started. If people come in, they come in and they can hear it midway through. But the first thing I want to say is you guys are doing an excellent job of creating a long-term gaming community. And when new people come into the community, that we are, I feel like anyway, living up to expectation. Now, we're not perfect. If you guys ever find a perfect guild, don't join it because you'll ruin it. So, I mean, we all have things to work on, right? But overall, I feel like, from day one, the majority of the feedback I'm getting is the guild's been a fun place and people are enjoying raiding here, and that is due to the community that you guys are building and maintaining. So thank you for that. With that said, I'm going to cover a few things tonight to hopefully keep the community going in the right direction, and then I'm going to be gone for about 10 days here, well, a little bit longer than that, and just give you some info in terms of who to talk to while I'm gone and whatnot. But the first thing is, there's a lot of like competition between the team
recording.
and between people on various teams, which is good. But I want to make sure that it's staying friendly, right? Like if you're on the same sports team, you have that friendly competition who's going to score the most goals, but you don't trip the other guy up on his way to the net, right? Kind of thing. So I hear alarmingly that there is some trash talking and that kind of thing going on, and I just want to make sure, if you're doing it, figure out a different, more positive approach. If you hear someone doing it, encourage them to phrase it in a way that's more constructive. Because again, we love the competition and we want to challenge each other, right? But we don't want to undermine or undercut or say things that aren't going to be in some way helpful to getting this community where they need to go. And along those lines, there's something that this guild has that's very kind of unique and specific to this guild, but also has this potential to create a lot of controversy. And that is that we have upward and downward mobility between our teams. Sometimes things are handled really well and everyone's happy. Sometimes things are handled horribly. I'm learning as I go. I haven't made a previous guild that had different rating teams, and it's all been stuff in my head, and some things have worked out really well, some things haven't. And like I said, we're fine-tuning as we go. But basically, if you go to a job and you hear that job has no potential to get a pay raise or promotion or anything, it's not very attractive, right? So that's one of the things that really draws people into this guild, is an ability to kind of promote yourself. If you play well, you can get to a different team that's maybe a little more advanced. Or if you're, life hits and you can only raid twice a day, hey, the Vanguard team is going to be an amazing team that's going to clear content, and you can go join that team, right? So we cater to a lot of different people, and this guild's all about long-term community and helping people raid and find a raiding atmosphere that fits their schedule. And in the meantime, it's got the stability of multiple teams, and it's not going to fall apart when there's a few people that don't show up, right? Because we can allocate resources differently, and by resources I mean raiders, to different teams. So that's all fine and awesome. And here's the thing: when you're a job or something, and someone gets a promotion, you don't down talk them. You don't get resentful. You go pat them on the back. You say, you give them a high five, right? And you're happy for them. And that's the kind of atmosphere I want to make sure is here. And I don't know where my daughter got them, but she got some light bulbs and is wanting my attention. But going on. So I want you guys to help build that positive atmosphere. If someone gets promoted, that's awesome. You're encouraging them. But here's what I want to really avoid. I really want to avoid any. Hi, sweetie. I want to avoid people like kind of passively aggressively or underhandedly trying to get on different teams. And what I mean by that is we're going by a 15-5 rule, which 15 people on a team should be core and want to stay on that team. And then you got 5 people that are maybe looking to go to another place. So that way there's stability on the team, but there's also a group of people that are pushing the team to be better, to perform at a higher level because they're trying to push themselves, right? And in general, we should have a rating atmosphere where everybody's trying to push themselves anyway. But if you are wanting to move on, the team leads need to know that. And we're going to work on a system to kind of fine tune this. But right now, what I don't want is a rumor mill going. I don't want you talking to this person or teams trying to poach players from other teams. So what we need is transparency. If you are interested in going to another team during the tier, and if it's like, you're not going to know where you want to go 3 tiers down the road, right? But I'm talking in current tier, if you're interested in going to another team, you need to talk to your team lead about it. A leader in your team needs to know. So if there's another team leader that says, hey, we need XYZ role filled, another team leader would know immediately who would be available and who wouldn't be available. So let's get away from any sort of rumor mill or, maybe I can go here or maybe I can go there. Just be transparent, guys. Talk to your team leads if you're interested in going somewhere else.
Daddy, play with me.
Yeah, so work in progress. So most of the drama that's come about is because there's been a lack of communication, and it's kind of been handled like, I'm not sure if I want to go to a different team or not, but I'm going to float these ideas out there, and people aren't going to know whether I want to go or not want to go. And it just creates this, people don't know who's going where or who wants to go where. And it creates anxiety for team leads because they're trying to find, who their stable roster is. And also creates anxiety for people that they could potentially be moving to because they don't know if this person's going to come or go or not. So what I'm asking you guys to do is just be transparent about the team you want to be on. And if you're going to be on that team and you want to be leadership and you want to stay on that team, let your team lead know so they just understand where you're at with stuff, right? So I'm asking each person on each team, and if you're a leader listening, like approach each other, talk, be transparent, and let's find everybody their right home and do it in a way that's respectful and amicable and doesn't create tension. So again, the idea with the multiple team thing, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be gone for about 30 seconds and I'll be right back.
It was meltdown time.
Put her on the chair.
It's alright, I do the same thing.
True story, I've seen it happen in the middle of a raid.
DJ, are we still going with our Tuesday run?
Yep.
Cool.
Is Donut Dan going?
I'm switching in a sec to get the lockout.
Okay, you still there?
Yeah.
No, we all left.
You all left. Revolting as we speak, riots in the streets. So my daughter's in her room playing, hopefully, and if she starts screaming, I'll go get her out. Usually don't put her there unless she's in trouble. But she
In the cage.
Yes, in the cage. She's in her cage. But anyway, I just want to clear the air because I know that some people are kind of confused about how it's going to work and they don't know what to do. But like I said, it's something that draws people to this guild, and it's also something that can cause tension. The way we alleviate that tension is by communicating with each other between team leads and raiders and just talk about where we want to go. But for the most part, we want to have each team with a stable identity and, very competent raiders clearing content. And then we have a few that are kind of, maybe in a place of transition, and we're going to do our best to accommodate them. All right. So I want to just outline kind of like the way the guild's supposed to work, because I know there's a few people that maybe don't understand why do we do team swaps. So some of you will kind of know this, and we can have a little bit of discussion afterwards maybe. But basically, the way it works is we have a very progressed team C, and I've already talked to them. I talked to them yesterday and gave them a whole spiel, so that's why they're not here. But they get us notoriety. We're on a very high pop server, and we were one of the top teams on that server, right? So people see us. We're very visible, and I have all sorts of plans in the works to do more stuff in terms of multimedia and all that. But that team gets us a lot of apps coming in that normally would not apply here. And I'm guessing probably half the people here are here because they saw that team, and that's what drew them to the guild. So it continually brings in good apps, and a lot of times the apps that come in, though, they're not able to perform at that level, at least not initially, right? And so we have other teams for them to fit into. So there's teams that aren't quite as progressed, and they raid fewer hours, and we cater to a professional crowd. And a maturity, and there's still drama here, right? But we're adults, and it's just a nice atmosphere to be in. So people get in, they get in the team, and if they want to move on, eventually they can. But the idea is the top team brings stability to the bottom teams through a steady influx of apps, and the bottom teams bring stability to that top team by having some backup players available to them. And there's not just external recruiting for a C team, there's internal recruiting for a C team. And now KVS, Justicar, they don't necessarily recruit, or have players trying to move up because they're kind of all at the same level, but they do add a stability in roster, right? So if we've got 2 or 3 paladins and one of them they all want to heal, we can maybe accommodate some other team that doesn't have the roster stability. If you've ever been in a guild that's had a hard set rule of how many players are supposed to be, 25 man, and you have 24 people show up, it can be very quickly snowballing into a we don't raid anymore.
I muted him.
Sorry, guys. It can very quickly snowball into a thing where no one's raiding anymore, and that's really sad, and that's a bummer, right? In a guild like this, if one team can't raid, the idea is we allocate some other raiders, whether it's short-term or long-term, to make sure that team's working. So again, this is all based on everybody communicating and everybody being adults, right? We have conflicts, we have things that don't work out our way, but what we don't do is we don't get in mumble channels and trash talk another team or trash talk another individual. We go and we talk to people, and we have it out, and we don't always have to see eye to eye. But the idea is we're a big support of a network of teams that makes sure everybody gets to keep raiding and do our best to accommodate people and fit them in where they need to go. And this is all based on communication and setting some expectations in terms of what's required on a team, what's okay, what's not okay. The safe work policy and all that is meant to facilitate adult conversation that's going to help us build that kind of atmosphere and that long-term stability. So that's what this meeting is all about, is making a clear picture for you guys going into the future. Right now we're not doing a lot of team swaps, but as we move into Mythic and we have that locked down 20 number where you can't raid if you don't have 20, and if you have over 20 you have people on the bench, we are going to be looking at moving different players to different places, and we need to know right now, what are you interested in? Are you interested in raiding fewer days a week? Because we have a couple teams that only raid twice a week. Are you interested in raiding more? We need to know that as leadership. So we need you to approach us. If you're happy on the team, that's fantastic, but let them know that too. So along with all the roster stuff that the team leads are keeping, they have a pretty good idea of who might be interested in helping out another team or moving to another team for different times, or who is like, this is the only team I can actually raid on because if I move back or forward an hour, I can't make that work for my schedule. So this is all the kind of information that team leads need, that we need as a community to make sure that we have the stability between the different teams and we're moving forward in the right direction. Another thing I want to put out there is we do have kind of more established teams that have been going, and then we have some newer teams, and the newer teams obviously are always the ones that need more support. So I'd really like to see Justicar is starting off, guys. They're a weekend team. They're really pushing, and I'm going to have a meeting with them later on today, and we're trying to fine-tune some things, but I really want the community as a whole to support that new team starting off, whether you can only show up once in a while or all the time or whatever. Carriax's the team lead on that one, but I really want to show some EK support for that team starting off, and if anyone's ever tried to start a raid team or a guild or anything on their own, it's hard because you're pugging and sometimes things don't go well, and it's just they need some support. So I want to support that team. Also V, they're not, they came in the very tail end, but they're also looking for some good raiders. They've got a two day a week schedule. They're a phenomenal team. I hear great things about them. So, you know, if you're looking on that 2-day-a-week thing, or if you just know someone looking, you know, encourage them to send Tension to Tell, or, you know, just want to support that team as well. Which brings me to recruitment. Please, guys, tell your friends. Like I said, this isn't a perfect guild. You don't have to sugarcoat it, you know, but tell your friends this is a good place to be. We're looking for